Well, that didn't take long, did it? Just 2 races into the 2025 Formula One season, and Red Bull has already lit the fuse on what might be the most explosive storyline of the year. While most teams are still ironing out strategy calls and fine-tuning their setups, Red Bull has dropped a bombshell, swapping out Liam Lawson and throwing Yuki Tsunoda into the hot seat. The paddock? Shocked. The fans? Divided. Max Verstappen? Let's just say steam might be coming out of that helmet. This isn't your usual mid-season shuffle or a quiet behind-the-scenes contract tweak. This is Red Bull taking a sledgehammer to the driver lineup, and it's got everyone in the paddock whispering like it's the first day of school and someone showed up in last year's uniform. Verstappen, who's carried the team on his shoulders for years and transformed them into a modern-day F1 dynasty, reportedly didn't take the news lightly. In fact, sources say he's fuming. Things have gone from zero to full meltdown faster than a Red Bull pit stop. Liam Lawson, the much-hyped prodigy who finally landed his full-time Red Bull seat after biding his time in the shadows, barely got a moment to settle in before the team hit the panic button. It was supposed to be his breakout year, a reward for his consistent backup performances and a vote of confidence in youth. Australia was a wash, literally. He qualified P18 and binned the car in the wet. Okay, first race jitters maybe, but then came China. Another tough weekend. Out in Q1 twice, finishing 14th in the sprint and 12th in the Grand Prix. Not horrific, but in a team that expects podiums, not points, is a problem. And 0 points. That's a red flag big enough to cover the entire pit lane. The silence from the team was deafening, and soon enough, the whispers started. Then came the emergency sit-down. Senior Red Bull bosses, power players, and probably a few very tense spreadsheets. No one talks about it officially, of course, but behind closed doors, it seems Lawson's fate was sealed over lukewarm coffee and cold data. This wasn't just about one driver. It was about Red Bull's obsession with staying ahead, no matter how ruthless it looks from the outside. During that high-stakes meeting, where the tone was more boardroom battle than team debrief, Red Bull's leadership made the call that would send shockwaves through the garage. Liam Lawson was out. He'd be shipped back to the junior squad, and in a twist straight from a Netflix script, Yuki Tsunoda would step up to the big league just in time for his home race at Suzuka. Talk about timing. The announcement didn't just rattle journalists and engineers. It sent Verstappen into uncharted territory, vocal frustration. Normally, Max operates in his own bubble, laser-focused on lap times and championship points, steering clear of the political mess swirling around him. But this hit a nerve. According to insiders, Verstappen flat out disagrees with the decision and hasn't been shy about letting the higher-ups know it. His argument? Simple. You can't judge a rookie after just 2 outings, especially not in a car as temperamental as the RB21. Verstappen's been around long enough to know that Red Bull's main car isn't exactly beginner-friendly. It demands precision, adaptation, and nerves of steel. Lawson, who had only previously raced in the more forgiving Racing Bulls machine, was thrown into the fire without enough time to suit up. Behind the scenes, Verstappen's been sympathetic. He's reportedly spoken with Lawson and come away convinced that the kid's talent isn't in question. It's the car's tricky handling and limited prep that set him up to struggle. And honestly, who would know better than the guy who's made that beast dance for 4 straight titles? Lawson's no outsider. He's a Red Bull grown product, someone they've invested years into shaping. To toss him aside after 2 outings feels more like panic than planning, and it raises an uncomfortable question. Has Red Bull's cutthroat culture gotten even sharper? Their track record is already littered with talented youngsters who were shown the door too soon. Now, it seems the message is clear. Deliver instantly or you're expendable. Performance-wise, the timing couldn't be more chaotic. Red Bull sits 3rd in the constructors' standings, trailing McLaren by a hefty margin. Verstappen's still in the hunt for the title, but the team's aura of dominance has taken a serious hit. The RB21 hasn't been the beast they expected, particularly in qualifying, and pressure is mounting to patch the cracks fast. Enter Tsunoda. He's quick, aggressive, and knows the Honda power unit inside out. Bringing him up now might give the team a jolt, but it's a risky bet. Chemistry matters, so does momentum, and shaking up the lineup mid-season has the potential to fracture more than it fixes. And what about Lawson? His demotion doesn't just affect him, it sends shockwaves through Red Bull's entire talent pool. If this is how they treat one of their most prepared juniors, what message does that send to the rest waiting in the wings? One bad week weekend and you're toast. All eyes now shift to Suzuka, where Tsunoda will debut in Red Bull colours in front of a fiercely loyal home crowd. No pressure, right? He's expected to deliver clean laps, solid results, and maybe even spark some excitement in a car that suddenly lost its edge, all while navigating the minefield of internal team politics. If that doesn't sound like a baptism by fire, nothing does. While Tsunoda gears up for the biggest moment of his career, Lawson is left to pick up the emotional debris and carry it back to Racing Bulls. Stripped of his seat before the season could even find its rhythm, he's returning not as a failure, but as a driver with a score to settle. Whether it lights a fire under him or leaves lasting cracks in his confidence remains to be seen, but one thing's certain: Lawson has unfinished business, and now the spotlight will quietly follow him too. But this drama isn't confined to just a couple of drivers swapping overalls. Verstappen's open disapproval is the blinking warning light on Red Bull's dashboard. When your four-time world champion starts questioning your direction, it's no longer a simple driver reshuffle, it's a philosophical fault line. This story now extends far beyond the cockpit. It's about whether Red Bull is still the team that champions its young blood, or one that has traded patience for panic. If Tsunoda doesn't hit the ground running, or worse, if he fumbles in front of his home fans, it won't just be Lawson's supporters asking tough questions. The entire paddock will be watching for cracks in Red Bull's famously aggressive, results-driven culture. Verstappen might have cracked open the door with his criticism, but if things don't settle quickly, others might start walking through it. Engineers, sponsors, even future prospects in the Red Bull Academy. Red Bull's identity, once rooted in taking bold chances on raw talent, suddenly feels transactional. One bad race, one crash in the wet, and you're out. That's a dangerous narrative to feed, and one that could haunt the team when it comes time to recruit the next Max Verstappen. And speaking of Max, his rare break from silence speaks volumes. He's not just defending Lawson out of sympathy, he's protecting the integrity of a team he's helped turn into a dynasty. If he begins to feel that management's decisions undermine that ethos, it's not just a PR problem, it's a structural issue that could destabilize the harmony inside the garage. Tsunoda, meanwhile, won't just be stepping into a faster car, he'll be stepping into a pressure cooker. He's now the guy replacing the guy Max wanted to keep. Every mistake will be magnified, every lap compared, every finish analysed not just for points, but for whether it justifies the swap. And while the roar of his home crowd might lift him, the weight of this internal saga could prove just as heavy. So here we are, a two-race decision threatening to reshape a whole season. Lawson's exit, Tsunoda's promotion, Verstappen's protest, and Red Bull's identity hanging in the balance. What do you make of it all? Did Red Bull pull the plug too soon? Or is this just another ruthless but necessary move in the sport's most unforgiving team? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, goodbye for now.